From private jets and champagne parties to a cold New Jersey prison yard, the first photo of Sean Diddy Combs behind bars just surfaced, and fans can barely recognize him. Gone is the flashy billionaire mogul the world once knew. In his place stands a quiet, bearded man, staring into the distance, bundled in a blue jacket and a beanie. This isn't the Diddy who ruled hip-hop. This is the Diddy serving a 50-month federal sentence after one of the most shocking courtroom downfalls in recent music history. But what really happened to get him here? And what's life like now for a man who once had everything, money, fame, and power, only to lose it all behind prison walls? Because as this new image spreads across the internet, one question keeps echoing. How did one of the most powerful men in music end up like this? For years, Sean Diddy Combs was untouchable, the symbol of success, luxury, and power in hip-hop. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a brand. From Bad Boy Records to Ciroc Vodka, from million-dollar mansions to all-white parties that became cultural events, Diddy built an empire that looked bulletproof. But behind the glamorous image, cracks had started to show. Quiet whispers in the industry turned into headlines, lawsuits, disturbing allegations, and rumors of darker behavior hidden behind closed doors. For a while, Diddy seemed to brush it all off, staying one step ahead of controversy. Then, everything began to unravel. In 2024, federal investigators zeroed in, digging through years of accusations that could no longer be ignored. One by one, those once loyal associates distanced themselves. His inner circle grew smaller, his empire weaker. The same man who once controlled entire music careers suddenly found himself surrounded not by bodyguards, but by federal agents. And when the courtroom doors finally closed, the verdict was clear. The reign of hip-hop's richest mogul had officially come crashing down. But the conviction that sent him away wasn't what many expected, and what happened inside that trial revealed even more about the man behind the empire. When Diddy's trial began in the summer of 2025, the world was watching. Federal prosecutors painted a chilling picture, claiming the mogul used his fame, wealth, and influence to exploit others for years. The charges were stacked: transportation for prostitution, sex trafficking, and even racketeering. If convicted on all counts, he could have faced life in prison. But after weeks of testimony, shocking witness statements, and intense media coverage, the final outcome stunned everyone. The jury found him guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but cleared him of the most severe accusations. It was a split verdict that left both sides unsatisfied. Prosecutors argued he was unrepentant, pushing for an 11-year sentence. They claimed his empire thrived on manipulation and silence. Meanwhile, Diddy's lawyers pleaded for leniency, saying he was already a broken man, asking for no more than 14 months. In the end, the judge handed down 50 months in federal prison, a punishment that sent a loud message. The era of Diddy's untouchable status was over. As the gavel struck, the once smirking mogul sat still. No words, no emotion. And from that moment, Sean Combs, the global icon, became inmate number at Fort Dix. But his new reality inside those prison walls would be a world no fame could protect him from. The moment Diddy's prison photo hit the internet, social media exploded. Fans were stunned, not just by how different he looked, but by what that image represented. The once clean-cut mogul with diamond chains and designer suits now looked tired, graying, and distant. Comments flooded timelines. That can't be him. Others called it karma, while others defended him, insisting the system made an example out of a black mogul who climbed too high. Inside the music world, the silence was deafening. Artists who once praised Diddy's mentorship, people like Usher, Mary J. Blige, and even some Bad Boy alumni, avoided mentioning his name. His label, once a symbol of success and swagger, now feels like a ghost town. Brands quietly pulled back, and streaming platforms saw a sudden spike in old tracks, curiosity mixed with nostalgia. Still, the question of Diddy's legacy lingers. Can a man who helped define hip-hop culture for 3 decades ever reclaim his image after this? Or has the curtain finally fallen on one of the biggest moguls in music history? Some say this is just another low point before a massive comeback, that Diddy will find a way to spin even this into redemption. Others believe this time the damage is permanent. Either way, that prison yard photo will be remembered as the moment everything changed, not just for Diddy, but for an entire generation that once saw him as untouchable. Because sometimes power doesn't end with a bang. It fades in silence behind barbed wire and fading fame. And now, as Diddy sits behind those walls, far from the flashing lights and billion-dollar boardrooms, one truth remains impossible to ignore. Fame doesn't always buy freedom. The man who once defined defined an era of ambition, luxury, and power, now wakes up to a 6 a.m. alarm, eats prison oatmeal, and stares out at a gray yard where his empire exists only in memory. Some fans still hold out hope that he'll turn this downfall into redemption. Others believe it's the final chapter in a story built on control and excess. But either way you're on, one thing's certain: the name Diddy will never carry the same weight again, because in the end, the same world that crowned him king is now watching his empire crumble, piece by piece, headline by headline. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real cost of living like a legend.